Shalom family, let's touch on a few things Israel quickly. Directly after the revelation that Trump was elected and he's going to be president, two things immediately happened. Number one, Qatar reportedly expels Hamas and stops mediation efforts for hostage deal with Israel. It's about time. Hamas officials deny receiving a request, and Israel welcomes the Qatari decision. After rejecting repeated proposals to release hostages, its leadership should no longer be welcome in the capitals of any American partner, a senior Biden administration official told the paper. In addition, the Emirate will stop its mediation efforts between Hamas and Israel. So that's an immediate response based on Trump being the victor in the election run. The very next thing that happened is from Hamas' side. Hamas calls for immediate end to war following the Trump election win. The senior Hamas official called for that against the group in the Gaza Strip and a plan to achieve Palestinian statehood in remarks shared with Newsweek in the wake of former President Donald Trump's election victory. The election of Trump as the 47th president of the USA is a private matter for the Americans, Hamas Political Bureau member and spokesperson Bassem Naim told Newsweek. Palestinians look forward to an immediate cessation of the aggression against our people, especially in Gaza, and look for assistance in achieving their legitimate rights of freedom, independence, and the establishment of their independent, self-sovereign state with Jerusalem as its capital. Now, the interesting thing I want you to start picking up on when you listen to news from the Middle East, and specifically Israel, listen to the wording they use. Up until now, they've been saying with East Jerusalem as their capital. Now they're saying Jerusalem as their capital. They want the whole of Jerusalem, not East Jerusalem, and not just the whole of Jerusalem. They want the whole of Israel, from the river to the sea. They want all the Jews and the name Israel expunged, removed, deleted. And it comes through in their language and their statements regularly if you're paying attention. So they're still making many victories in Lebanon, in Gaza, all over the place. They're prepping for another go at Iran, and they've got Trump's go-ahead apparently with the articles and news stories coming out. Trump is with them on taking out Iran's nuclear capabilities, possibly hitting the oil. We will see. But it continues, and they await someone who's going to provide a solution and bring everything to a halt. There's also been rumors that Trump has told him to wrap everything up before he gets elected in January. And that's a big ask considering how long this has drawn on and how big and widespread this conflict has become already. Now, the next thing that's important, and if you've buffed up on your World War II history and leading up to World War II history, things like Kristallnacht, when they hunted down Jews in the streets and smashed businesses down and went crazy on the whole anti-Semitic run in the beginning of the war. They're having a similar situation now, in case you haven't noticed. Hundreds of Jews hunted down, violently beaten in pogrom on the streets of Amsterdam. Not the streets of Africa, not the streets of some Arab country, the streets of Amsterdam. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dispatched rescue planes to Amsterdam on Friday after the violent Arab mobs orchestrated a targeted pogrom against Jews coming out of a soccer game. Hundreds were ambushed at different exits outside the stadium as fans left the game, which included a match between a local Amsterdam team and an Israeli team from Tel Aviv. Witnesses told the media that individuals leaving who were identified as Jews were descended upon by a Muslim mob, chased with knives and violently beaten, with footage confirming at least one individual was intentionally struck by a vehicle. Israeli news organizations reported that Jewish fans resorted to barricading themselves in shops and nearby buildings. Netherlands' Geert Wilders stated the riot had the appearance of a Jew hunt in the streets of Amsterdam and called for the arrest and deportation of the Muslim Arabs who took part in this event. The Lord said, Those who come against his chosen people and his land are essentially coming against God himself, Lieseshubby said. The violent intent to harm the Jewish people, as seen not only in Amsterdam but around the world, is rooted in the spiritual reality of Satan's pursuit to annihilate the Jewish people, thereby rendering God's promises void by whatever means necessary. For them, it is a means to an end. And I've said this many times before, and he summed it up very nicely now. By wiping out the Jews, by destroying Israel, removing its name, and ending it, he proves that God's promises cannot be fulfilled. And how twisted is his thinking that God Most High would even allow that. Geert Wilder says, no one who took part in the Amsterdam pogrom was arrested. Now here again, I'm not surprised at all, because why would they arrest them when this is what the world wants right now, a hatred of Jews, anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, the spirit of Antichrist which is strong in the world right now, which is pushing against the Jews and against the church. The leader of the Dutch Party of Freedom disputes Amsterdam police claim all arrests were made before and during the soccer match and not during the pogrom. I am speechless. Amsterdam police confirmed no one has been arrested during the Islamic Jew hunt in Amsterdam Thursday night. All arrests were made before and during the soccer match, not during the pogrom. So any rules you break or any laws you break or chaos you cause, you will be dealt with. But if it's against the Jews, don't worry, we got you covered. You can even run them over with cars in Amsterdam. Nothing's going to happen to you. Then, if that wasn't enough and causing enough chaos and having Israel send planes to evacuate their people, a tram was set on fire in Amsterdam in a second wave of attacks against the Jews. Violence erupted on the streets of Amsterdam on Monday night in the second wave of anti-Semitic attacks to hit the Dutch capital over the last week. One of the city's famous trams was set alight by the rioters dressed in black, armed with fireworks, and the rioters threw debris and shouted, "Kanker Juden," cancer Jews, also meaning, I'm not going to go into the language. Rioters reportedly burned the tram in the city's western suburbs and clashed with police earlier in the day. Now, I want you to realize how quickly this is ramping up. We've seen a huge escalation in anti-Semitism and hatred to the Jews in Israel. But two massive pogrom-like Kristallnacht type events, not even a full week apart, in Amsterdam taking place. You're going to see this increasing and growing in severity because it needs to build to a point where they have a man step onto the scene and calm everything down and fix the chaos. After we're gone. Pray for Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the Jews living in fear, confusion, and chaos right now, that they will discover Messiah in their holy scriptures and turn to him while they can, to be able to avoid this time of Jacob's trouble, Daniel's 70th week, for Daniel's people that lies at the door. God bless. Keep looking up. Shalom.